There we go. We are live.
We're live. Okay.
Yes, we are.
First question about going live. Should we always share it to our Facebook when it's happening?
Sure.
Okay. I don't see it. I'm on our
Hang on.
Facebook page. Okay.
Let me grab the share link. Oh, come on. Copy and paste. I'm going to put it in chat. That's
Okay,
the
cool.
that's the YouTube link.
Because I definitely don't see it on our channel. There it is. I see it now. Okay.
Yeah, there's a bit of a lag. Like I see it immediately because I'm the one that starts the live stream. But I think it takes some like what did I say? It's like a 15-20 second lag or something.
That's awesome and fantastic. And I'm sure there's a really good reason, but I don't know what it is. And so, um, we are live. Come join us at Nadia. Okay. I'll put it there. Okay. Okay, so tell me all the things about the AT&T outage because I have home AT&T internet, but T-Mobile cellular, so I don't know if I care.
Um, I mean, I think you should care.
Why? What happened? Because
Okay, so this morning it was really strange because like I have my stuff set up to where or my phone. I have my phone set up to where if I'm connected to Wi-Fi, it does phone calls over Wi-Fi, right?
okay.
So for me, I didn't notice a difference. Like I didn't know anything was happening until I opened up social media and I saw that everyone is in an uproar about um, cellular service being out since like 1 a.m.
And
And
so
so
hold
when I,
on, hold on. You have yours, just to go backwards for just a second. Your phone, your cell phone is set
Mhm.
up through your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I have my cell phone set up to where I can do calls over Wi-Fi instead of mobile data.
Yeah, okay. And I think that's pretty common.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people do it, but I don't know why, but we can come back to that. So, do you have AT&T Mobile?
I do. Our
Okay, cool. I
our
just wanted to make sure I had full
cell
perspective.
services through AT&T.
Okay, awesome. Keep going.
Okay, so this morning, my husband actually was able to take the kids to school, and when he left the house, that's when I had already come across like some articles, or not art, yeah, some articles, from like ABC, like local news channels, saying that there's a widespread cellular outage with AT&T, some Verizon, but it was mostly AT&T.
Okay.
Then, and so as my husband is out dropping off the kids at school, on his way back, I get a text message that says it's like something along the lines of like uh, my phone has no signal, is what he said.
Oh,
And
okay.
but I received the text message and I was like, well, what do you mean your phone has no
Yeah, how
signal
did you
if you're
get
able to
that?
send me a text message? And what apparently had happened, like when he came home, he explained how he was able to do it. It wasn't all the cell phones, which is really strange too, because my daughter's cell phone still had signal. My husband's cell phone did not. His phone was saying SOS, which means emergency calls only.
Okay.
But my daughter's cell phone had signal, so he turned on her hotspot and he was able to connect to her hotspot. So he was connected to a wireless account. And I think that's when that text message came through for me. So I didn't know anything was going on because, like I said, my phone is set up to where I can do calls over Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I have done that is because I have had issues in the past where if my mobile signal is really weak, like I don't get text messages, I don't get phone calls, um, like I don't see that I've missed anything
Mm-hmm.
until hours later. And so this is something that I've been dealing with for I think it's been like 2 years or whatever. And I thought it was specific to my phone. So
Right. I think I remember you were having a lot of trouble with your phone.
I
And you thought it
was.
was your phone, but now you think maybe it was your service?
Well, so in that particular instance where I was just like my phone never rang, I would just get missed call notifications like hours after I missed the call, or I would receive text messages hours after people had sent it and it
Mm-hmm.
had shown as being sent on their end. That really was my handset because I had a Google Pixel,
Yeah.
and it was a known like bug in the model that I had.
Okay.
And so I got my phone replaced because I kept having those issues. So Google, like I went through the Google support, they replaced my handset. I got a new one, same model, but it was new.
Yeah.
So then my issues stopped.
Oh, okay. So it did stop.
It
Okay.
did stop.
So I thought I saw somewhere this morning because I was only half paying attention that the AT&T, it wasn't just wireless, but it was also internet. Is that true?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Okay.
So it's kind of funny though because so on Reddit, I follow I follow this subreddit called Conspiracy because I think it's hilarious.
Oh my
Um,
God, I need to be there. Okay.
yes, there's a conspiracy subreddit. It can get really like creepy and crazy in there. So I don't dive deep into like everything that everybody posts, but every now and then there are a couple of things that they post and I'm like, well, that's a really interesting take. So
Okay.
I'd like to see what everybody else thinks about this. I am a lurker. I never interact. I don't respond or anything like that because I'm scared.
Except
So
for your new YouTube lives
yeah.
where you respond live. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
did you see a conspiracy in there about AT&T?
I saw a conspiracy about not just AT&T, I saw a conspiracy about the cellular outage and
Oh.
people were saying, some people were saying, "Oh, it's solar flares. Like, are you not afraid of the sun? You should be now." But there are other people that
Oh.
are like,
Oh,
"Oh,
okay.
no, this is big government. This is the beginning of um
Oh.
big government." It starts with cell phones, or it starts with interrupting cell phone service, then it turns into interrupting internet service, and then it turns into interrupting communication like
Mm-hmm.
completely. And this is all leading up to the 2024 election. And once again, I'm
Oh.
like,
You know what I
because
love about these
the United
conspiracies?
States is the center of the universe to these people, right?
Well, that's true. I mean, yes, we think so anyway. Um, but the interesting thing is how much credit they give the government for having a conspiracy and pulling it off. I mean, if that was true, I don't know what part of the government would be responsible for
Yeah,
said conspiracy,
I don't know.
but I'm just impressed
Yeah, no,
because
it is. It's impressive.
they keep it under wraps. Because do you know how much paperwork it takes to accomplish anything in the
Oh
government
my goodness.
and how much
So much red
communication?
tape. Yeah.
So all of this massive amounts of communication about disrupting communication, ironically,
Yeah.
um, has not been leaked and plastered on the news yet is really impressive.
Right.
So what is the real problem? What really happened? Do we know?
So from what I've read,
I mean, besides the government infused solar flare.
yeah, exactly. The government
Yeah,
controlled solar flare because the
right.
government is controlling the sun and the solar flares that affect all communications. So the
Well, I
other
saw the
thing,
movie. What was that movie? Oh my God, where the whole universe was created for the one guy. Trump, not Trump. Oh my God.
The Truman Show.
Truman
Yeah.
Show. I saw the Truman Show, so I know
Yeah.
that we do control the sun.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep. Okay, so from what I've read is it's actually it was an update. So there was maintenance that was supposed to happen because why would it
Mm-hmm.
happen at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, right? So there was a scheduled maintenance and somebody screwed
Oh.
up and
Oh. Yeah.
it affected the SIM registries.
Okay.
And so I read that and I was like, okay, well that makes sense. Like because
That is
I
so
have been
much
in a
more
situation.
boring than
I
a sun
know.
conspiracy by the US government about the 2024 election. Uh,
Right?
I know.
But
God, the
yeah,
truth is
so
boring.
I know it is. But apparently, there have been enough people that have come to that conclusion that, the typical maintenance window is during that time because usually there's not that many people that need to use their phones. So, and I understand
Yeah.
that because working in IT, in healthcare IT, whenever we would do updates, it would be at like 2 o'clock in the morning because nobody would be in the office, and it would give us enough time that if something were to go wrong, we had built-in buffer time to either revert the changes that we made or fix whatever happened before the first staff and patients started showing up to the facility, right? So the time frame for a maintenance window makes sense to me. Um,
Sure.
the SIM registries being affected makes sense to me,
Sure.
um,
Yeah.
which causes, your the communication between your device and then the cell towers, because the SIM registry, that's what tells the cell towers, yes, this device is allowed to use the network, or they're approved to use the network or whatever, because that's the whole point of a SIM card, whether it's a physical SIM card in your phone or an eSIM. Um,
Yeah.
it's just the handshake that says, yes, this device can use this AT&T tower to make a phone call, receive or send text messages, use data. That's all it
Mm-hmm.
is.
Okay.
Um, Now, I'm not going to pretend that I know more than that about that is the extent of my knowledge for how the cell phone or how
Mm-hmm.
cellular services work. And the only reason I know that is because I had so many problems with my freaking handset that I went
Right.
down the rabbit hole because I was like, why is my phone not working?
Interesting. So
Yeah,
are we all back now to
I think
the internet?
so. I think so because I've been able to send and receive text messages. I made a phone call this morning.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, okay, I have a question. Let's go back to your husband for a second. The amazing Lance. And he said his phone said SOS only. How does it do that? Like, how does it make, if it can't make calls, why is it able to make emergency calls?
Okay,
Do you
so
know anything about that?
yeah, I read about this before too. So it's part of that. There is an open line of communication for emergency services. So if you type in 911 on your phone, it'll let you through to the service no matter what carrier, no matter what cell phone tower, no matter what it is,
Oh,
because
cool.
that is a like an open, this type of call, this number is allowed to be called all the time.
Mm,
But on the other hand, so if it's a SIM registry error, um, and it's not the cell phone towers or the service itself, even even if you could get through, if the service itself is
functional?
interrupted,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
you still wouldn't be able to call through to emergency
Oh,
services.
okay.
So there it depends on what it is. But once again,
So,
that's just my rudimentary understanding of how cell phones. I'm sure there are so many people that are so much smarter and understand all of the intricacies of how all of
mhm,
this works. But like
mhm.
as a plebe, that is how I understand it.
What is a plebe?
A plebeian,
I
a poor person,
oh, oh,
a
okay.
poor a poor person, a normal everyday like lower class.
Okay. So, to me, most things in the world come back to The Walking Dead in some kind of way.
Oh,
Um, what?
no, I did just the Walking
Oh,
Dead.
oh, okay. So, to me, we're one disruption away, not from zombies per se, but living the life of the people who were in The Walking Dead.
Hmm.
And we are so dependent on our cell phones now
Hmm.
that and this internet connection that I remember when I woke up this morning and I saw the message and I was like, well, we have AT&T internet. The truth is, if the internet goes down, our entire house is just essentially non-functional because even our bed is connected to the internet, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even Andy's coffee mug is now connected through her phone.
Mm-hmm. Does she have
So
an ember mug?
yeah, I got her one for
Oh,
Christmas.
I love that.
Yeah, she loves it. Took her like 3 months to set it up, or 2 months to set it up, or whatever.
Yeah.
But she finally just set it up this week, finally. And now she's like, "This is the greatest thing ever." And also, she hasn't stopped drinking coffee, which means she's hardly sleeping. But that's her problem. Um, you know.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, if the internet were and phones, if the internet and cell phones went down for
Hmm.
24 hours, the world would come undone at this
Yeah.
stage. How
Yeah.
would I watch my Taylor Swift TikTok videos of those two in a zoo? I need
Yeah.
to know. What would
Right,
I
right.
do? I would be confused
Yep.
and lost. Um, so
Well,
it's really good.
no, continue.
So it's really good that it came back as quick as it did, because I think that there would be chaos in the streets.
Yeah. So what I was going to mention was because of the cellular outage from this
Mm-hmm.
morning, it really did like I got to the point where I was seriously sitting here considering maybe we need to go back to a landline or not go back to a landline, but have that as an emergency form of communication. But even if we did that, like our household did that, in order for it to work in an emergency situation, the people that we are calling also need to have landlines, like the copper
Yeah,
lines,
yeah.
not VoIP, because
Right.
voice over
VoIP.
IP
Yeah,
is
yeah.
still internet, right? So, yeah, it kind of defeated the purpose because I'm like, well, if we're the only ones that have a copper line or a copper landline, then even if we were to make an emergency phone call to like family members, if they don't have it, then we can't call them. Like we wouldn't be able to get a hold of them.
Right. And just to go back to the conspiracy real quick, what does
I love
losing,
conspiracy theories, by the way.
I know. So what does losing, and man, I don't want to go too down the MAGA trail here. If this is where this is headed, not on this channel, but is the conspiracy theory with the November 2024 election to keep us from voting? Is that the thing? Or is it to influence our voting? What was the conspiracy there?
That's a really good question. Let me hop on there
Okay.
real quick and just take a
Yeah.
look, right? So
Go
here's
ahead.
the
You do that.
conspiracy. Let's look for specifically the all right. So it says so this is one from 5 hours ago. Okay. Somebody posted an X level major solar flare occurred at 3:32 a.m. CT this morning. 5 minutes later, reports of mobile data outages started coming in to down detector. And so I have to mention the top comment because I think it's hilarious. The number one
Okay.
comment so far says, "Would a big enough solar flare, wipe out my debt?" It's funny, but also the answer is yes. Yes, it would.
Oh,
Because think about where your debt is stored.
okay, Mr. Robot.
The data for your debt is stored on servers. So if a big enough solar flare takes out electronics, then yeah, it's going to wipe out your debt.
Have you watched Mr. Robot?
I have not.
Okay. Something bizarre is happening outside my door here. I know we're on a live, but I'm gonna go see what
Go
the
check
hell
it.
is
Yeah, yeah,
happening.
go for it.
Is everything okay out here? Okay. 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 I don't know what it is, but everything's gonna be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now there is a continuation of the like the boring it makes sense um reasoning, right? Which
Okay, go
is
ahead.
there was a what is it? It was a maintenance that went bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So somebody else they've thrown the conspiracy theory side to it and they're like, no, they were hacked and then had to try to restore the database.
Oh,
And this is pretty serious. People could die without access to emergency services. Yeah, that's
sure.
absolutely true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Um, and then oh, gosh, I love looking at Reddit comments because they make me giggle.
Hmm.
Like like this one says, "Holy shit, what do you mean all the SIM passwords were stored on a file in the C drive?" Oh goodness. Anyways, I'm trying to find that's the other thing with social media, right? Like the responses happen so fast that things that you saw maybe an hour ago can get buried very quickly.
Oh, right. Yeah, especially on an active thread. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, okay, it's affecting other networks now. Mexican and Canadian networks went down to
Oh,
mm,
so all of America, basically,
I don't know.
or North America?
I mean, maybe. Oh, here, somebody asked the same question you did. What happens when the power grid goes down and everyone's banking disappears? We depend too much on the internet these days. It seems dangerous. And then somebody else said, this is exactly why their idea of going all digital with currency is a stupid one.
Ah,
My guess is so they have more control in the aftermath of a lights out event when things are restored. It will be chaos and even more so for those that have no paper currencies.
mm.
Yeah, I can't like I'm still scrolling trying to find the
But see, here's the thing. I don't even think that has to be true because of Bitcoin or
crypto.
digital currencies of that nature. I don't have a dollar on me, right? That's not true. I found a dollar walking down the road, put it in the living room. But
Mhm.
other than that dollar that I just found that we later were realized could have had fentanyl on it and we touched it. Um, yeah, no. Well, you got to think about these things now, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, I know. I it just we so my kids are in Girl Scouts. Both of my daughters are in Girl Scouts. So we're
Oh,
selling Girl
yeah.
Scout cookies right now, and we are handling a lot of cash.
How do you feel about that? Because I'd never
Well,
thought
now
about
that
that
you've
in my
mentioned the
life until,
fentanyl on the cash, now I'm like,
well, I mean, first of all, we live in a nice neighborhood, but people have drug problems no matter
yeah.
where. Apparently, fentanyl's in all kinds of drugs now. I don't know, but walking down the road and we saw, or on the sidewalk, and we saw a dollar, and I was like, "Oh, pick up the dollar." And so Andy picked up the dollar, and then she picked up the dollar, and she's like, "Oh my God, what if this dollar has fentanyl on it?" And I was like, "Well, shit. I guess we'll know here in a second if
Right?
suddenly you got some problems." Um, But I never thought about that until that instance.
Hmm.
And now it's all I can think about. And it's
Right.
like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, with that aside, all of my money is in a bank and I spend it and access it digitally.
Hmm.
So, if the internet went down, would my money exist?
Well, if the internet went down, the internet is just the source of like communication, right?
Okay, then if a
Because the
solar flare happened?
servers, like the servers that it lives on, it would still be there. It just there's no way to access that data,
Okay. Okay.
or at least
So then how would a
you
solar
can't do it
flare
remotely.
get rid of the money?
Oh, because depending on what kind or the intensity of the solar flare, it can actually fry electronics.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
it's not just a matter of like disrupting the communication. It is
Mm-hmm.
literally like frying electronics. So
Got it.
the
Okay.
wires, the chips and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Boy.
So a strong enough solar flare affects satellites. Like that's one of the reasons why there's so much research going into protection of satellites because
Oh.
you know GPS and all that kind of stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
if a solar flare is strong enough to knock out a satellite, then that's one less data point for accuracy for GPS
Yeah.
purposes. But then
Okay.
also for
Yeah.
communication, that's one less point communication point for faster um, transfer of information.
So thanks for stressing me out.
You're welcome.
Um, do you have anything else on this topic?
Nope, that's it. Just conspiracy theories. And I mean, my signal, like I said, I never noticed a difference because I'm over Wi-Fi, but my internet is Comcast.
Ah,
So
yeah.
we have two different two different
Hmm.
carriers for cell phone and then internet. So I didn't notice a difference, and the only reason my husband did is because he had to leave the house.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So my moral is to never go anywhere and everything will be fine.
Gosh, I know, right? That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
But is that the best? Is that how you really live life? Is the best way to
Yes.
live your life?
Yeah, I think so.
You know
Yeah.
what? You're right. Because
I know.
there is a reason why the ultra rich live in like giant homes where if you think about it, it's like, why do you need to live in a 30,000 square foot home on, 100 acres or whatever? It's because then they never have to leave, which means they don't have to worry about their safety every moment.
Hmm. Yeah, true.
So I get it.
Absolutely.
Like if you live in a home, if you live in a place where all of your needs are met, you have your forms of entertainment right there on your property, swimming pools, movie theaters, arcades, bowling alleys, whatever it may be, whatever you like, and you never
Hmm.
have to leave your home, then why would you?
You're absolutely correct. Um, Andy has realized this week, why hasn't she been working out of the media room this entire time? Because it has the best fun lights, it
Uh-huh.
has the best seating that's most comfortable. She has all the power plugs right there, cup holders, everything you could ever need. And so she started working out of the media room this week. And it's just been the best thing. And the dogs are happy because they're on the couch.
Well,
It's
yeah.
just like everything you ever needed right there.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, let's
Well,
end this because we
that's
have
it
more to
for
talk about.
that's it for the outage. So thank you, AT&T, for getting us back online, but also, are we going to receive some sort of credit now? Because we pay for the service and we had no service for a certain amount of time. So let's see what happens there,
Well, probably not.
which I think is BS, but that's in a whole other conversation.
Accidents happen, Nadia.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.